Hey guys, in this video I'm going to be talking you through the process of recording this swamp thing from Philip Sevey, and I thought it was an amazing drawing, so I asked him if I could color it. He said yes, so I did. Check it out. Alright, welcome everyone. My name is K. Michael Russell. I am a comic book colorist, and I teach digital coloring here on YouTube. And today we're going to be looking at this piece from Philip Sevey. So this video is broken into two parts, and I'll be talking you guys through the time lapse for about 8 or 9 minutes or so, and then we'll go into Photoshop and I'll show you how I sort of polished it up there at the end with some adjustments and tweaks and whatnot. So before we get into the time lapse, I thought I would give you guys kind of my initial thoughts on where I wanted to go with this. This was drawn by Philip Sevey, by the way, if I didn't mention that in the intro already. He posted this on Twitter a couple weeks ago, and I was sort of blown away by it. There's so much detail, and the composition is awesome, and it's just very I immediately felt like I knew what I wanted to do with this. And so I did a quick, and I normally don't really do these, but I did a quick kind of color study. Now this is not meant to be final. It's very, very rough and missing a lot of details and things, but I knew I wanted them to be sort of backlit, shadows in the front, very creepy looking. And that's kind of what I was shooting for right off the bat, and I think I got pretty close to that in the final product. And for anyone that wanted to see the base colors kind of before the time-lapse starts, this is where the time-lapse is going to begin here in just a second. Swamp Thing is, basically a mix of a couple of different greens and browns, and I end up going in and actually adding some more kind of color variants to some of these green areas and adding more brown into it, and I'll talk about that when we get to that point in the video. Alright, so I started off with just some shadows, and I'm working on a multiply layer with a very, very light blue. You can see that up in the top right-hand corner in Procreate. And so I laid it in with like a big soft brush, and then put a mask on it and kind of painted some of this away. It's kind of, I guess, I don't know what you call this, maybe negative rendering or inverse rendering or something, where I'm adding in the shadows and then kind of painting out that in some of the areas where I want the light to come through. So just a different way of doing it instead of just thinking about light all the time. Same thing on this side, just kind of went in with a soft round brush, laying that shadow in, and then cutting into it more on the mask. And I think this was the soft, well, it's initially the soft just airbrush in Photoshop, or in Procreate. And then I think the brush I'm using just called the round brush in the painting area. It's nothing too exciting. Here I went down to the base colors and kind of blended him into the tree a little bit. I wanted him sort of growing into it. Brightened up the water behind him, and there really wasn't a whole lot that I did with the water. I did want to kind of minimize the effect of that little root behind him so that it wouldn't interfere with the light on him and kind of draw attention away from that. So just brushed in some lighter colors in some of the areas where the water's kind of being disturbed there. It's very subtle, didn't really take much. And in here I'm going to come in on this is a hard light layer with that orange you're seeing up there on the top right. And just laying in some additional texture and lighting in the areas that I had set up before. And I did that on both sides, on the roots in the top left corner and the bottom right corner. And this brush is just, it was some texture-y, painty brush in Procreate. I can't remember exactly, but it's got a little bit of grain to it. And I just brightened it up behind him because that's going to, his face is mostly going to be in shadow with the plan that I have here. So I made sure the background behind him was really bright, right around his head anyway, which is going to be the focal point. Here I'm just throwing around some of that blue from the water, like it's kind of reflecting up into the shadows, and then darkening some of these shadows that are even deeper and really not getting much light there at all, and it helps to create some more depth, making sure that it's real dark in those shadow areas. In the final piece, it came out a little dark overall. That's one of the things that I ended up changing in Photoshop. So here, laying in more shadows. Again, this is just a multiply layer with kind of a blue color, and I'm going to move that mouse just a second so you guys can see the bar at the top. This was done during a live stream, and someone finally said, "Hey, move your mouse." I'm like, so I moved it. But this is all on one shadow layer, again in multiply, kind of a blue color. And I picked blue just because there's a lot of water reflecting, and so the shadows are kind of going to have a blue tint to them here. But I like to do shadows first, just because once those are done, they kind of act as a barrier for what I want to do with the rest of the lighting. You know, the highlights are primarily going to be outside of the shadows, of course, and then any reflected light or bounce light is also going to be contained to the shadows. So as a first step, this makes the most sense to me in how I'm working now. And it's around this time that I realized that I want his, I guess that's a hand or whatever is growing behind him. I want it to be a little bit more brown, a little closer to the color of those trees, so that it really looks like he's kind of fading into the tree. And so I ended up putting more brown into him here. Now this is back on the base colors. This isn't really a light or a shadow. I'm going down to the bottom of the layer stack to just where his base colors and adding some of that brown. And the highlights here, I used a really bright, almost like a lime green, and I think this is still in hard light mode here. And you can see that I've made it brighter and added a little bit more contrast. The edges are a little bit harder on his face than anywhere else, and that helps to pull some attention toward his head. And then the rest of the lights are not quite as, they're a little bit softer as you move away from his head. And I zoom out a lot, as you guys can see, to check the overall, see how it's going here. Going a little bit brighter with the highlights here. And, with the shadows, you can kind of be rough and kind of toss them around, and it won't really make too big of a difference in the details. But for these kind of highlights, there's no way to fudge this. You sort of just have to get in there and make all the details. And so, he's lit really strongly from behind. And I'm just trying to keep that in mind as I'm adding all these highlights everywhere. And at one point in the stream, I think it's around right there, that all that brightness that I put on his arm was just to show that in reality, yes, it probably would have been that bright. But I didn't want to draw that much attention to what is effectively not a very important part. And I didn't want to draw more attention than what was on his head. So that's another, something else to keep in mind whenever I'm rendering is to make sure that I'm thinking about focus at all times, and that I'm always trying to, even in rendering lights and shadows and things, I'm still thinking about where the focus areas are, which are typically, upper bodies, heads, hands, and less so on some of the rest of it. And here I was just, trying to add a little bit more texture into some of those flat green areas that kind of look like leaves. And I kind of blended it a little bit so that you couldn't see my brush marks. But this hand kind of turns up, a little bit, it looks like. So it's catching a little bit more light than that part of his arm and the other sides of his fingers here. Because his fingers, would kind of turn away from the light source. So that's why you don't see any yellow on his fingers. And then here, this is just a secondary kind of bounce light or environmental light or ambient light, whatever you want to call it. It's just kind of a blue color. I chose that because of the water. It's reflecting up some colors here. And I thought that would fit pretty well. And it's already an established color. So Rico Renzi posted on Twitter the other day a good point. He's an excellent colorist himself. And he said that, I'm going to paraphrase him, but use less colors. If you want a better color composition, just use less colors. Instead of introducing some new color, pick something from the environment. And that's good advice. At least on a kind of moody piece like this. Now here I kind of overdid those blue highlights on his leg because I realized that that right leg of his would actually be in shadow. So I actually paint some of that away here in just a second. Yeah, right there. I just put that on a mask and paint it with black to get rid of that part. But all these little blue highlights that I'm adding are, contained to the shadows. That kind of helps me to keep that straight. Here in the stream, someone asked about checking values, so I went in and threw a black layer on top, set it to color, and basically converts it to black and white. I added a little bit of red to the trees and him on an overlay layer. Very low opacity, just to kind of warm it up some. And I still end up warming it up a lot more in Photoshop, so let's go there now. All right, so this was the piece as it was when I pulled it into Photoshop. And the first thing that I realized is it felt a little dead to me at this point. Like I wanted it to feel a little bit warmer because I wasn't getting the feeling that I wanted to from the wood and some of the texture, and it all came out without as much brown as I would have liked. Some of the browns kind of got squashed down and they're a little bit more desaturated here, so I want to pump that up. All I did first was create a new layer and set it to overlay, okay, and then filled it with this color. I don't know how you say that word. Anyway, it's about that. And when you add that on here, you can see that what it does is it warms up a lot of the browns immediately, but it doesn't affect the greens as much, and it actually pulls the greens a little bit toward that warmth too. And I kind of like that look on this. And so that was the first step that I did. And that was actually a pretty dramatic change right off the bat. Next thing I did, it felt a little bit flat as far as there wasn't enough separation between him and the background. So I did this to brighten up the background. All this is, it's another overlay layer with some, let's see, what does this look like? There, you guys can see what it looks like. Some blue and orange, it looks like. It kind of blends there in the middle a little bit. But what that does is just brightens up the background so that he pulls forward a little bit. Next thing was for the lines themselves, I actually lightened them just a little bit. It's very, very subtle. I don't know if you guys can probably see this. It's very subtle, but it added a little bit of atmosphere to this that I think it needed. It's not something I would do very often to just change all the colors of the lines, but for this I kind of liked the look of a kind of the warming up the lines too, and it seemed to work okay. I also did some subtle adjustments to this background area right over here, again lightening that up just a little bit. Then we have some very, very subtle glows that you probably wouldn't even notice if I didn't tell you. But what I did in all the areas and all the planes that are reflecting the most light, that are also important areas I want you guys to kind of notice. On his forehead, on his shoulder, those planes would be reflecting that light source quite a bit. And so I've got sort of a bloom effect going on, if to use the gaming term here. Made some tweaks to that little root coming in behind him. It's not part of him, but I didn't really want it completely lost in the background, so I added a little bit of light to that. It's a very, very subtle texture, which really I don't even know if you can read in this video. And then just some adjustments. I did some levels adjustments to brighten it up a little bit. A curves adjustment just for the shadow areas primarily, and I'll actually show you guys a trick with curves that I learned recently from Piximperfect. It's another YouTube channel. Because if you're like me, I didn't really understand curves very well. But if you go to the little half moon symbol down here, that's the adjustment layers. Click on curves. So if I wanted to make the darks darker, for example, which I don't want to do with this, but just to show you, I can grab this point right here and start pulling that down. That's going to darken the dark parts. By the same token, I can lighten the light parts by pulling this up. So that's one way you can kind of create contrast with that little S-curve, but there's another way that you can use this that will actually help you control it a little bit better. So let's say, for example, it's really just kind of these dark areas around his head that I want to bring up some, or like all the places in the image that are about this value. Let's say I want to bring that up. So instead of trying to like figure that out on the graph, just click this little hand symbol here and touch the part. You can see as I move it around the image, like here, watch this little line that's going to appear over here. Okay, you see that? So as I go into the darkest parts of the image, you know, like the black, you know, it's almost all the way down at the bottom. But as I get into the brighter colors, you can see it's moving kind of up the ladder there. So I can just touch this hand symbol and then grab that dark area and drag up. And that will allow me to bring that up. Now it also brings up everything a little bit, but the point that it's focused on is right there. So I could brighten that up here, but then let's say I don't want it here, I could pull that down a little bit, back in line where it was. And here we've got kind of a reverse contrast thing going on. We're doing less contrast. So, but that's kind of what I did here was, let's get rid of this one. I did a very subtle curves adjustment, which you can see here, just pulling up those blacks to brighten those up a little bit, or some of those dark areas. Vibrance to, which is again, very, very subtle. You can barely see it, but vibrance can be better than saturation sometimes in Photoshop, because saturation just equally increases the saturation on everything, or takes it away on everything. Whereas vibrance, the best way I know to explain it is the areas that are more saturated are affected first. So the areas that are more saturated, you're adding saturation, but it's not affecting the parts that are desaturated quite as much. So for me, it's super subtle. I don't even know if you guys can read this in the video, but it just brings up the grains a little bit more. And that's basically it. So here is the final piece. I will do a nice slow pan over this part so you guys can check out all the details. All right, so there you go. This whole piece was recorded live on Twitch, so I do that every Wednesday at 10 o'clock Central, 11 Eastern. And you can also watch the videos on demand, I think for like 2 weeks or 4 weeks, I can't remember. I've also recently updated Patreon to include early access to videos. So if you guys want to be the first to see these about a week before they actually go live, you can ask questions and whatnot about it then. Check the links down below, along with all the other stuff that I've got down there. And I think that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, subscribe, bell, like, all the things. See you in the next one.